Hi, Periscopers. Hey, y'all. How's it going? Okay, we are going to get started. We are getting ready to have a little bit of a rainy day. I just walked in my office and there's just these downpours outside. So I rushed into our office kitchen here. So I'm on like my plan B or C for my Periscope today, but it's okay. I'm looking forward to it. Hi, Sandy and Kim and Wendy. Thank y'all for joining me. Okay, today's topic is still about unhealthy relationships. So it's really not my super favorite topic, but I know it's so important because so many people are in unhealthy relationships and they don't know what to do. They really feel hopeless and helpless because literally nobody plans on being in an unhealthy relationship. Everybody wants the happily ever after. I'm going to try to switch my angle a little bit because the lighting is weird in here. I don't know what's better. Oh well, we'll just have to deal with it. I look like I'm glowing up here. I've got, a halo on or something today. So, hi Carvers, thanks for joining. Hi Rhonda. So y'all, healthy relationships, every relationship needs to be healthy in order to be fulfilling. And so if you're in an unhealthy relationship or yes, these principles can apply to friendships and family and marriage relationships. Seriously, any relationship, a lot of these principles can apply because there can be unhealthy relationships in your family that you're trying to have and maintain, and it's impossible when someone is a manipulator or someone is a controller. And y'all, that is because of fear. People get to the point of just feeling very afraid. Either they're afraid of rejection, afraid of loss, afraid of being falsely accused, afraid of criticism, afraid of being wrong, afraid of being misunderstood, and these fears rise to the surface. And when you show me someone who is a fear-based thinker, they will always become controlling. Because whenever we can't control things, or whenever we are very afraid, we want to control more. So you just have this misconception that if I control more, my fear is going to go away. And it's not true. You control more and you become more and more frustrated. And actually you become more and more angry because you don't have control. So remember when we separate goals and desires, I wrote it down here for people who need this, because when we separate goals and desires, you can know you've got to have two different categories because you cannot control anyone else. You don't have the power. So if they're being angry with you, if they're being manipulative towards you, you can't control them, but you can control your response. You've got to change your response toward them. But in order for you to have an effective response, you can't be afraid. So I love what Dr. Caroline Leaf says. She just says, you have to either operate out of the love zone or the fear zone. And you really got to choose. It's one way or another, because if you're operating out of fear, you're going to want to control more. And there's going to be so much negativity surrounding this relationship, the one that is the struggle, that you just begin to feel helpless and hopeless with it. But if you move your thoughts to the love zone and you learn how to control your own behaviors, how to make your own choices, you draw your own boundaries, and you don't stay in that fear zone, then you can begin to make rational, reasonable decisions that will affect the relationship for the positive. Now, what happens oftentimes is when you're in a relationship with an abuser or just an unhealthy relationship, maybe they're not abusive to the point that it would be criminal, or maybe they're not abusive to the point where there's violence or things like that. But it is very definitely an unhealthy relationship where there's not good communication. Either they clam up and become a brick wall, or they manipulate you and you clam up and become a brick wall. Either way, that is not good. So if you are doing that, you're going to have one tendency or the other to either overtalk when you get afraid and try to really pressure and control the situation to get that other person to talk more. But remember, you don't have the power to make them talk. So you really need to stop trying so hard by yelling and swearing and putting them down and whatever. So you just need to just stop, it's not working. So stop trying to push them into talking. Now, if you're the kind of person that just becomes a brick wall and you just do the silent treatment because you don't want to fight, that's equally as bad, because that's passive aggressive and you're not solving the problem that way either. So if you're the talker, you need to, and you're the pusher, you're the yeller, you need to stop yourself. So use that self-awareness to self-manage and say, okay, I gotta stop, I gotta be quiet. But I would always make it a suggestion that in that time you stop, but you say, I would love an opportunity, in a real calm voice, I would love an opportunity to have a conversation with you. And if you don't think that we can talk about this, would it be okay with you if I get a mediator, or if we find some sort of counsel to help us? A counselor, a pastor, but some sort of a mediator, because if we can't have this conversation rationally on our own, let's get help, okay? That's right, calm voice. And then even for me, I have to calm, I have to slow down, because the more upset I get, the more hyper I get. And so I have to choose my words so carefully. I have to let time go by, and literally I have to get on my husband's level and be super quiet, super calm, super relaxed. And then I have to calmly say, I'm willing to stop talking about this, to give him the peace that I'm willing to stop talking about it, and I'm willing to wait till he's ready. But I have to still tell him that this conflict has to be resolved. It's got to be resolved somehow, some way. So you let me know how you think we can resolve this. Okay, if the person that you're married to has that possibility that they can even come to a conclusion, that's good news. Yeah, that's a great proverb. Okay, if you're the person that clams up and you just turn into a brick wall and you're passive aggressive and you won't talk, you get so stubborn that you will not talk about whatever the sore subject has to be. Okay, you have to also realize you're not helping anything, and the conflict won't be resolved by your silence, because technically, it really needs to, biblically, that conflict needs to be resolved before the end of the night. Because if you guys, the Bible says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Because the Bible says, if you let that stay, that resentment, which means resent, that resentment gets resent. It goes from your head to your heart, from your head to your heart, from your head to your heart. And all through the night, you're gonna end up building up resentment because you didn't have that conflict resolved. If you guys cannot resolve it in the middle of the night, at least resolve to agree at the next time that you're going to meet. Say, tomorrow at lunch, I will make myself available. Now remember, it's a desire that they will meet with you and that they will resolve the conflict. That's a desire. You don't have the power to make that happen. But you do have the power to say, to self-manage, to get yourself in relaxed, and to say, I will make myself available at noon tomorrow. And you never heard that, Brian? That's good, isn't it? I will make myself available that at noon tomorrow, we will have a calm conversation and we're going to resolve this. I promise that I will be calm. And you can say that. Now, if you're with a truly abusive, narcissistic person, here are some tactics that will happen. Whenever you try to have a rational, reasonable conversation, it's literally impossible. It is literally impossible. And if you are in a truly abusive relationship, it's not possible. What they will do what we call the topic switcheroo. And here's how that works. In the middle of the conversation, they will switch it around and turn it around, and it will become so confusing it doesn't even make any sense. I had a client that I was coaching through responses, and her husband was becoming manipulative and controlling. So she said, we met at church. He was a Christian when we got married, and now he will not let me go to church. And I just told her, that's abusive. He doesn't have the power to do that. So he doesn't have the power over your schedule. He's not supposed to have the power over your schedule. So what happens is you guys decide what you're going to do for the week. And if he is so resistant that he won't go to church, and that he will not allow you to go, or he will not allow you any control over your own schedule, don't fight him right then on it. But then later, when it's time, just tell him real calmly, what are our plans for today? And then he'll tell you his plans. And his plans were to go work out at the gym. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to go and his plans were to work out without her at the gym. And she said, okay, well, while you're gone, I'm going to go ahead and go to church, and I'll see you back later. And I told her, just calmly say that. It's not a point of contention. It's not a fight. It's not a point of conflict. Okay. But so I told her, you keep your attitude good. You're not fighting about it. But see, he fights about everything. So no matter what she says, it's going to turn into a fight. And so he said, fine, go without me. She's like, oh, I would love for you to go. Or if there's something else you want us to do together, we can do something else together. No, I'm going to go to the gym. You go do that. So I just told her, just calmly say, all right, I'll catch up with you later. You know, real nice like, okay, you go and then you come back. Now, these people met at church, okay? So it's not like they didn't have this in common. This was part of what their relationship was built on. They met at church. They were both Christians. So he's just decided now that he doesn't want to do this, okay? So she said, what should I say? Just tell him, okay, I'll see you later, you know, just in the nicest voice. And then when you come back, you be the nicest person ever. You know, you want to be just wonderful Christian wife. The Bible says that your husband will be one without a word. And by the way, this goes both ways. If it's the other way around, just switch the roles, because it's gender neutral. These situations, they can go with either gender. So while she's on her way to church, he texts her, again, being mean, because see, I've coached her to where she's not fighting, because it does take two to fight. So if the unhealthy person that you're in a relationship with, if they're constantly picking a fight with you, y'all don't acknowledge it. You don't have to enter into the fight. You stay calm and recognize what they're doing, and you just take a step back. It's like if you're playing tug of war, it only works if you're both pulling in the opposite direction. Once you just go in their direction, the fight's over. There is no fight. So, but you still be in charge of your own self, okay? And don't allow them to manipulate you, but you stay calm and carry on. I love that. So she's getting to church. He sends her a text message. He says, I can't believe you would go without me. We're married. We're supposed to be married. And she said, what am I supposed to say to that? And I said, don't say a word. It was a text message. I said, that does not require any response. It requires no response. That's what I call this manipulation tactic. He's making the switcheroo. What does her going to church have to do with them being married or not? Has nothing to do with it. It's like, what's the price of tea in China? Who cares? Yeah, you don't have to attend any argument that you're invited to. Don't attend any argument that you're invited to, right, Wendy? I love that. Okay, the blame game. The blame game is always shifting the blame. You know, once you take full responsibility, they can shift the blame all day long. You'll take the blame. You know, and pretty soon that tactic's not going to work on you anymore. So they blame you. Well, all you ever want to do is go to church. Yeah, you're right. I do love going to church. Remember when we used to do that together? You know, and just say you're right, you know. They can shift the blame. I'll take it, you know. Well, all you ever do is, you know, care about yourself. You know what? I do love myself. I do, because I understand God's love for me, and then I can better love you. I love the Lord my God with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then I love myself so that I can love you as myself. I do. I'm confident in who God made me to be. And I'm not a needy person, but I love you and I want to love you. So yeah, I guess you're right. That's just the way you do those things. When they're picking a fight and they're blaming, they're manipulating, just go with it. But don't argue and don't fight back, okay? Oftentimes they'll give you that projection, whatever it is that they are actually, whatever they're really guilty of, they will project on you. Like they'll say, oh, you're so selfish. You're so controlling. You know, and really the person that is the more controlling person will be saying that because they're projecting that on you, because you know, you don't want to be selfish. You don't want to be controlling. You know, you just want a healthy relationship. By the way, thank y'all for the hearts. I see the orange, blue, green, brown. Keep giving them more hearts. The more hearts, the better. And you guys, Periscope is new now. We have a new update, so you can touch the number. And then when you touch the number and then just swipe up a little bit, you can see where it says to share. And you can share while we're live. And also, Hi to all my replay viewers, and I just have to tell you this also. You guys can fast forward or rewind the replay. So that works out really well for any time you're catching the replay. And just for this little commercial break, if you need to catch old Periscopes, thanks, Wendy, on my website, TrinaTitusLozano.com. It's perfect because you can watch those replays and rewind if you need to. And my son just texted me that he got last week's Periscopes up that were all about marriage and having healthy marriages. So we'll listen to these about unhealthy and then go back and remember what it takes to have a healthy relationship. Okay, you guys? So thank you for that. Okay, so turning up the volume. Unhealthy behavior is when things have to get loud. Thanks, Billy. I've been watching Lauren's replays also. When things have to get loud, unhealthy. My grandma always said, we don't yell in our house. Why do we need to yell? Nobody's hard of hearing. We don't need to yell. Nobody's hard of hearing. We can calm down. We can relax. We can just sit back and quietly have a calm conversation about our lives together because we're in a relationship. So whatever relationship you need to talk about something that's a little more difficult, just be quieter, lower the volume, and calm it down. But your unhealthy person won't do that. Your unhealthy person is going to be unwilling. They will get louder and louder and louder. But just because they get louder doesn't mean that you get louder. You get to choose your own volume, okay, y'all? So you choose your own attitude, you choose your own volume. Did you guys get that? Okay. Playing the victim. Okay, so your unhealthy person who could be an abuser or at least heading in that direction, they will always play the victim, meaning they will not take personal responsibility because they will be stuck in that pit of self-pity. What happens is you'll see the pattern of hurting people hurt people. They need healing. And if you're married to this person, seriously, pray for them and see if there's anything that you can do to get them help that they need. They might need a combination of medical help, spiritual help, emotional help. They can use a combination of things because we are made up of body, soul, and spirit. You might see yourself as the more unhealthy person. I had somebody look at all of these characteristics of an unhealthy person, and I said, do you think that might be the person that you're married to? And they said, actually, I think this is me. And I was like, okay then. But the good news is you don't have to stay this way. The good news is emotional health can always be improved. Your EQ can be raised and you can get healed from the pains and the wounds of your childhood. You can get healed from the pains and the wounds of your past abusive relationships. And so you don't have to become an abuser just because you've been abused. You can be healed and you can grow in that situation. So I help a lot of people get better. And these are just signs. So you know, it's things that you need to look for in other people and also things that you need to look for yourself. So we can always improve, y'all. Interrupting, being the victim, feeling sorry for yourself. All of these things are signs of being unhealthy. So y'all think about how you can get healthy, how you can improve your relationships. I'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight with a great Periscope, and then I'm still completing this topic and going deeper into it for the rest of the week. Y'all, thanks for Periscoping with me, and even though this is a tough topic, we just want to continue to educate ourselves on what healthy relationships look like, okay? So God bless you guys. Have a great afternoon, and I'll see you tonight at 9. At noon and 9 every day, actually. You're welcome. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.